Hey, you guys, it's your boy Eli here, and I'm happy to announce that we will be part of Comic Palooza's podcast partnership program. And we will be there live in front of all of you guys, everyone who's be attending Comic Palooza on May 26th and 28th. We will be doing a live podcast episode in front of everyone and hope to see you all there. Uh, we will be doing some cool stuff there, and I hope to see you guys there. Hopefully, meet up. Who knows? Anyways, guys, hope to see you guys there. Anyways, peace. And welcome back to an episode of the Geek Centurions. It's me, your boy Eli.
Hey, it's me, Daniel.
Hey, we got Daniel back. Always good to have the boy back. And
You can't get rid of me, man, no matter how hard you try.
no, I can't. I honestly can't. I keep trying to kill you, and you keep coming back. Like
Well, where was it going to go? Burbank?
better than Albuquerque. And yeah, so whenever we have Daniel, we always have a fun talk about video games because he's one of our video game guys. Um, recently, was it 2 or 3 weeks ago that we had Evo Japan?
Yeah, man, not too long ago. It happened recently.
Yeah, and at Evo Japan, not only did they announce some Tekken stuff, Leroy, Asuka, but they also revealed, hey, we're doing another Fighting EX Slayer. And if you don't know what that is, I'm gonna let Daniel explain because I feel like he has more knowledge about it than I do.
Okay, so I haven't played the series myself quite yet, but I did hear it was pretty good. But in a nutshell, it's from these developers. They actually made the EX series for Street Fighter. EX 1, 2, 3. Well, maybe not 3, but the point is, they were responsible for the EX series to help brought Street Fighter to the 3D landscape. And then, years later, since they don't really own Street Fighter, they decided to make their own fighting game, and that was Fighting EX Slayer.
Hmm. And they're a small Japanese
And that's why
company.
we're seeing some of the
Oh, go
yeah, like it's a small like Japanese company, Arika, and yeah, and some of the favorite EX Leia characters are back too, like Skullomania.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you recognize like a skull, like costume dude in fighting games, that's that guy. That's where he's from.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that led me to think about stuff because wasn't that too long before that. We had some news about a MK12 coming out.
Yeah, so like it was some board, like I don't know, investor meeting, just talking about some stuff. Oh, so we got some new stuff coming in. New Shazam movie, another Batman movie. I think we got Mortal Kombat 12. I don't think we were supposed to announce that, but it's there. Just to let you know.
Yeah, that's funny how that was. It's like, oh yeah, we're having the Suicide Squad. It's coming out this year. Also MK12, and everyone's like, wait, what? When did this happen? It's just,
Yeah, and
it's just how does that happen?
oh,
That's tied. Like I get it. They need to announce everything, but I'm just like, wow.
I don't know. When it comes to video games, they're they're not really as I mean, they can be really secretive, but they're not always secretive. For example, Norman Reedus, he was just nonchalantly, telling, "Oh yeah, like so we were doing some stuff for Death Stranding too," and then like you hear like from the other side of the planet, Kojima's cringe. Just like you weren't supposed to tell people that.
Oh yeah, he did do that. I forgot about that. Oh shit.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, so people like that are working with video games that don't really have a big knowledge of the industry, they're more likely just to nonchalant announce stuff.
Mm-hmm. And so with that, and obviously Tekken 8 was announced not that long ago. Street Fighter 6 is coming out, and I think there's another fighting game that I think it's coming out too. That's like really popular.
Uh,
Or did I mention it?
I remember. I know there was a lot of announcements from SNK from Evo Japan as well, like KOF 13 getting a re-release with rollback.
That's what it
Let's
was.
see, another free DLC character for 15.
Hmm.
I think we got a first look at Sylvia Paula Paula there too, right?
I think that's what it was. Yeah, roll back with some stuff, and so that's kind of where the gist of my of this episode is going to be about is: are we in a new era of fighting games now? For some people, that's kind of a weird thing to say. Um, But you didn't. But you have to, hear us out in that there was a time where fighting games were kind of like a barren wasteland. There was no fighting games coming out. Well, there were, but they weren't like they didn't get the attention they usually get like nowadays, especially with like Street Fighter Six. Because
No, yeah, it's it's kind of funny when you think about it. It's almost like the gaming industry itself. You know, like fighting games first started, it got really popular. People started following the trends, and they're making their own fighting games. Some were good, some not so good. And then eventually, it just stopped, and then one specific era, specifically the PS2, GameCube, and Xbox era, there was pretty much almost nothing. If you're looking for fighting games, the best bet was either Tekken or Mortal Kombat.
even so,
Street Fighter was very sparse, and most of the time it was just fighting game collections, and that was about it.
hmm and it wasn't until the 360 PS3 era that we got Street Fighter 4, which was like
Yeah, and that
which was
pretty much made it popular again, and we were entering like a golden era. Like we're starting to see Street Fighter back. We saw Mortal Kombat go back to the roots, going back to the normal 2D fighter instead of a 3D open arena kind of thing.
hmm and
And also
go
oh yeah, and pretty much the popularity of online play as well. Granted, it was delay based, but it was better than nothing at the time. This was way before rollback was later created with this one guy for Skullgirls.
yeah, and that's kind of the thing that for a lot of people who aren't that into gaming or into a different aspect of gaming kind of need to understand is that for this is a community centered around fighting games. You will have those communities that'll still like very much die hard. Like you'll still have those like there's still third strike players, guys. That's weird. And for a lot of you guys,
No, yeah, like still are.
yeah, there's
Like I mean, it used to be big on 360 and PS3 with Third Strike Online, which I still believe is probably the best version of Street Fighter 3 we'll ever get.
mm-hmm.
And time moves on. People jumped over to PS4, Xbox One, but people sort of they just got on their PCs to download Fightcade and started playing Third Strike with each other online.
Oh yeah, I remember when and this is not to dog on the game because I really do love Marvel Infinite, Marvel Capcom Infinite. But it's, when that game wasn't what people wanted it to be, people immediately jumped back onto Ultimate Marvel 3. It was like
Mm-hmm.
night and day. No, that's kind of the way the fighting game community is. They will support a dead game, like well, a dead game, I would say. You know, but
I mean,
over.
the community will be small over time, but there's always going to be that passionate fan base.
Mm-hmm. And so the reason we talk about like a new era of fighting games because that's when like a lot more people came in. You didn't see just the old guard; you saw like a new generation of players. You had like Punko and was Tokido one of them? I want to say he was.
Let's see. Sorry, say that one more time.
Like I'm talking about like because when Street Fighter 4 came out, it was considered the new era of fighting games because not only did we get like that, we also got a lot of cool stuff, Tekken and like you were saying earlier. But it also means that we got a new generation of players coming in.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like same ones from before as well. Like I mean, we all knew about Justin Wong, Daigo. I mean, they've been playing it in a small niche community before the whole big burst and new generation of fighting games were coming out, and all the old ones came back. People saw their skills. I want to be just like them, and so they started grinding and trying to be the best as they can, just like them.
Yeah. And like it's funny that we're talking about it that specific era of fighting games too. That was also the era where like a lot of stuff that will eventually be like online streaming, like YouTube and all that stuff, where people will post their combos and so that's kind of like why that specific era was like so important for a lot of like fighting game community guy and like I guess we can call them historians. I guess.
Like probably, I guess.
Yeah. Right. Like how would we
like
label that?
yeah, it's I don't know what would you label that.
No, I don't. But to the point is that that's when the community started to really grow and expand. People started to realize, oh, you can do this, so you can do that. You can probably make a living really at the time, but now you can. It's 50-50.
I mean, it's still a bit hard, but that might change
It
soon.
might change soon. because Street Fighter Six, and ironically, it's always Street Fighter that brings back the love of fighting games. Funny, it's funny how that works because like four was the one that brought it back. Um, five was a would you consider disappointing when it came out?
Uh, it just varies, but if we were look back on it, in a way, kind of yeah, it was more heavily geared toward the more extreme hardcore players
Hmm.
because single player modes were pretty much non-existent. I think the only modes you had were like maybe a short like 5 battle story mode for each character, just training, and then I think an endless mode, and that's about it.
Yeah, it's. I think the Street Fighter Five era was more centered around those games that you wouldn't normally hear about, right? Because I feel like
Yeah,
that was the era that people got really into, like Guilty Gear, Blaze Blue, Killer Instinct, obviously, like
yeah,
Skullgirls, like that. That was like I think that was the era of the rise of the independent fighting games.
no, yeah, like yeah. First, it started out with Skullgirls. We're starting to see it with some other series as well. I forgot what's the name of this one, but it was like an indie game fighter. It had like Isaac from the Binding of Isaac, Shovel Knight.
Why does that sound familiar?
Excuse me. Uh, I'm gonna look that up. I don't remember the name of that one, but you know what I'm talking about.
Um, but to the point is like don't get me wrong, like you still had like big name title games like Street Fighter, Tekken, Mortal Kombat, obviously, but you also had like these rise of these games because like you never would have figured that Skullgirls, a game that is like really good, really fast paced, and like really fun, to be uh that popular. And it was been people have been begging that game to be on Evo for so many years. And I think it was last year that we had it. I know we had it this year, but I'm pretty sure last year was another one too. Offer for Evo, obviously. Um, but yeah, you would never don't see games like this have such a popularity. And if it wasn't, ironically, it wasn't for like the unpopular opinions of Street Fighter Five that would bring those in.
Yeah.
Did you ever find out the game yet or no?
Oh yeah, I have. It was Blade Strangers.
Ah, okay. So yeah, we had those kind of games, and now we're to the point where we're getting at is that with Street Fighter Six on the horizon, not only for one, if you are that good and able to compete in Capcom Cup, their circuit, you can get how much money was it again, Daniel? How much? Money?
1 million.
A million. They say. Yes.
And this is the biggest one because I think the biggest prize pool we've ever seen for fighting games was maybe about 500 grand, and that's for like it was either Mortal Kombat or Injustice from the MLG, I think.
I think you're right. Yeah, that sounds about right. But like, yeah,
Yeah, because most of the time you don't really see pools that big for like fighting game tournaments in general.
yeah, like I think the one for Evo this year is going to be what 15K.
I believe so. Let me just double
Yeah,
check.
yeah,
See, actually,
yeah. That's one that that just for like one, you're getting a million. The popularity of it, you have like winning $1 million for Street Fighter Six. Oh my god! And not to mention like the
no, 25K.
25K. Never mind. I was lowballing that one really bad. Uh, but like the amount of promotion Street Fighter Six is getting, and a lot of interest people I see people having about that game. The amount of insane looking stuff they're doing with Tekken 8. Mortal Kombat's gonna be Mortal Kombat. People have been begging for a new NRS game. The fact that yesterday's PlayStation state of play, we were all hoping to see that, but we're not. We didn't. It was a Final Fantasy.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was just a Final Fantasy 16 focused one. NRS fans, they're still waiting. Hope they're okay. Just be a little bit more patient. I know it's hard.
Listen, we love you all. We love you NRS fans. We love you guys. Without you guys, we wouldn't have Injustice or MK. So please be okay.
Like no, like I totally get it, man. Like it's tough. You want just us some Nintendo fans. I remember like it was like the biggest drought for like Nintendo news, and I think I don't know maybe half a year for another Nintendo Direct they have to wait for.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I remember that time. Jesus, that felt like forever. Even the Legend of Zelda stuff that came out like a week or two, like 2 days ago. I was like, oh god,
Oh yeah,
like that took forever.
yeah,
Yeah, but give it time, guys.
yeah. Tears of the Kingdom's gonna be sick.
Oh my
Yeah,
god, yeah.
yeah. So yeah, it's just wait it out. I'm sure you'll love it as soon as the it comes out. Showing up all the stuff they have planned for it.
And like that brings me back to finding EX Slayer and like the stuff with KOF because I couldn't imagine like there being another EX Slayer game or them bringing back KOF their team with rollback. Even though I still question the fact that it's on PS4 and Switch.
I mean, it, oh wait, it's not on Xbox either.
No, it's just PS4 and Switch.
Wow, that's weird. I thought they would have brought it over because Microsoft's been pushing the Xbox in Japan, but huh.
I don't know, man. But yeah, no. To more to the point is that so the question now is this going to be the next era of fighting games? Now, obviously, I think the game that kind of held it out for the most right now was Guilty Gear. I know for some people that's kind of like but it's doing a lot of stuff. I feel that is very welcoming to new fans and like sort of setting the bar that I think we'll eventually see other games try to top, especially with the online play. Even though currently, right now, the online play for Guilty Gear is a little it ain't good. It ain't good.
I mean, they're working on it. They came out. They said they might have found the problem, and just to give them a little bit more time to fix it. So
Mm.
yeah, like not good right now, but hopefully they can get it done soon.
When it first came out, I was shocked by the online how good that was. Lobbies are still kind of questionable, yes, but like the rollback on that game was just so good, so good.
Like it's so buttery smooth.
It is. It's like I think it's like a couple frames delay, like but like when that first beta, the second beta that came out, I tried it out and I played it. I told this story many times. I played it against a Japanese server. I've met some Japanese players, played it, and I'm like, oh my god, this is like so good. I'm over here living in Texas, all the way like across, like on the other side of the pond. You find like Japan, and I'm playing a dude again, Soul versus Ramathal, and I got my ass kicked, and I'm like, oh my god, but that felt so good. That was so crisp, so crisp. But yeah, no,
No, yeah, man, like it's
go for it.
not like it's crazy how far we've gone. I mean, like, especially like even before 360, I think the original Xbox had some fighting games that you could play online, and you
Mhm.
could tell it was very rough, but it was the best you could do at the time. So we came a long way.
Yeah, we come a long way. So that's why I think like if we're talking about like what specifically these different eras of like fighting games have done for the community, because it's I think it's Street Fighter Two started the whole thing. Not to say there wasn't other fighting games, but like that set the standard. um, and then Street Fighter Four was like the rejuvenation because like around between two and four was kind of the rise of the 3D fighting games. So Tekken, Virtual Fighter, Soul Calibur. Those were the rise of those kind of games. Uh,
Yeah,
which hopefully, by the way, I hope we see more Soul Calibur. I love Soul Calibur. I'm not good at it, but I like it.
I mean, I hope we get to see some more because I know like it didn't do as well as Namco has hoped it would,
Mm.
but hopefully we'll still see more of Soul Calibur stuff.
It did better than five, as I recall.
Yeah, and I do hope Virtual Fighter will make a return. Like I'm glad it brought back five again,
And it did
and
well. It did well.
what?
I think it did well, but
No, yeah, like
go ahead.
it did well, but like Sega was like, yeah, so Virtual Fighter 5 re-release is doing great. We have a lot of people playing, and that's it. It's like, so you're not making a Virtual Fighter 6 or something? There's nothing to say at this time.
Nothing to say at this time, and especially after like I think Virtual Fighter Five on at Evil Japan one of the higher entries. Like there were a lot more number of entries in there. Or am I just imagining that?
Probably, I know Let me see. Let me take a look at that.
Yeah,
See
yeah, yeah.
here. Evil Japan.
Because that's a good way to know. Because like you gotta remember, Virtua Fighter was the one before Tekken. They set the standard, and then Tekken came in and just like, hey, this is how it is now. And so it's always been a back and forth. Any news?
Let's see. Wait, sorry, I was busy looking trying to find out like how
Oh
many
no,
people entered.
sure.
What'd you say?
No, I'm just talking about the the similarities of Virtual Fighter and Tekken, how they kind of always balance back and forth. I think I've always played more
No,
Virtual
yeah,
than Tekken, to be honest.
no, yeah. Because Virtual Fighter was the reason why we have Tekken to this day. Even Harada himself said, Tekken heavily is influenced and borrows a lot from Virtual Fighter, and so now that Virtual Fighter has been dormant for a while, like he and his team were like, what do we look for inspiration now? I mean, they haven't made another game in a while.
No, yeah, and like if you play Virtual Fighter, it's very different than Tekken. It's oh my god. I was playing Virtual Fighter 5 the other day, and I was like,
But yeah.
yeah, this is different. This is different. I'm playing out Blaze, and what's his name? The dude with the red hood, blonde dude. Is it Johnny?
Oh, you mean Jackie?
Jackie. Yeah, there we go. I know it started with the J.
No,
I was like, yo, these guys I like. I like El Blaze. I like Jackie.
yeah,
They're so good. But yeah, no. Obviously, we're getting a lot of games that have been dormant for a long time coming back, and the rise of what essentially is rollback. So obviously, it feels like we're getting into that new era because Street Fighter Six is like, yeah, we're doing rollback. Also, we're doing crossplay, and that's something that I
yeah.
feel like is very needed for a fighting game nowadays because as much as we're talking about like the new era, there's a new generation coming. Yeah, we're still a niche genre, guys.
No, yeah. So crossplay is a very big deal because you gotta understand what most of the time one console base player base will be bigger than the other, and that can be a real issue especially when it comes to fighting games, especially since they're niche.
Hmm.
So, for example, Persona 4 Arena, when it first came out on PS3 and 360, obviously there was going to be a bigger player base on the PlayStation side because it was mostly a PlayStation series at the time, and so like the player base for Xbox was incredibly small. And so if it had crossplay, it'd be great because then both consoles would be sharing the same ecosystem, and then you'll have like a large amount of players to play with. But yeah, at the time, you have to be like where you want to play your games at because depending on the player base, it might be good or
Yeah,
not good.
I mean, look at we're using Street Fighter Five again as an example. That was mostly PlayStation in for a couple of years, and then it went to Steam.
No,
And
no, like it came out on Steam at the same time, I believe.
it did.
But yeah, like
Yeah.
I could have sworn because I know PlayStation they made it exclusive to their consoles,
Mhm.
but they were allowed to do it on PC. But yeah, like Street Fighter Five was the first crossplay game allowing you to play, people on PlayStation or on PC.
Mhm.
And then later on, we started thanks to Fortnite. Yeah, out of all the games that would have helped, bring crossplay into the normalcy of gaming today
Mhm.
is Fortnite. So thanks to them, we're starting to see a lot more fighting games do all the crossplay too, like
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat 11, King of Fighters 15. They're about to do it soon, so now you can play with Xbox, PlayStation, PC.
And thank God for that, because like I like KOF 15, but I can't find anyone to play with online.
It's not you. It's just the I don't know. The online's kind of weird, and people's been vocal about it. So we don't know when SNK is going to address it, but all we know is that they're kind of aware of it and they're looking into it.
And just to let you guys know, I have it both. I have it on two consoles. I still can't find shit.
Yeah,
Granted, I can
so
find a little more.
hopefully SNK fixes that soon.
But yeah, SNK, please.
Yeah, so no, yeah, so again, like I don't want to say like they're learning consuming dead years to learn how to make a good file online, for fighting games, but you got to keep in mind like we're just getting rollback netcode into games now thanks to well, I don't want to say thanks to because it was a bad time, but because of COVID,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah. It was the
Yeah, because of COVID, they realized.
It was the moment that
But sorry,
it was the moment that go ahead.
no, no, yeah. So yeah, basically like COVID, they realized people they're not going to in person fraternities anymore, and they realized because of how big different places are. Again, like the United States, it's a one big country, 50 different states, and especially some of the states are so large. I mean, take Texas for example. I mean, you can fit like I don't know how many European countries in it. That's how big of a space it is. And
Yeah,
then again with Europe, it's one big giant continent, and so you got like different friends from different countries. It's gonna be like a big, a noticeable. You're pretty much gonna notice like the lag because of how far your friends are.
he's not wrong, guys. I mean, Texas is a big place, and half the time we're not able to like communicate with each other. Like, Daniel, did you know that Multi Blood and all those kind of anime games have been very popular in Texas? I didn't know this at all.
I mean, I'm aware they have like a dedicated base, but yeah,
I was talking about this with some guys at a local, and we're like, yeah. So apparently, Texas is a big anime fighting game scene, and I'm like, when did this happen?
yeah. It's weird about like learning about some stuff. Like I remember here in Katy, there was like a small like a Smash Brothers scene. I don't know what happened with them. They just stopped doing it, I guess. But
Hmm.
yeah, like there's always like some kind of scene going on in Texas.
Yeah, yeah, he's not wrong, guys. Um, but to the point where you were saying like it wasn't for like that situation happening that people started to realize, oh, cosplay is a thing that we desperately need in fighting games, and it's not like we didn't have it. Killer Instinct was probably one of the best examples of having rollback, and it was so good that a lot of people. I think the player
And
base
they had the
jumped.
fun for it too.
Yeah, the player base jumped when that stuff happened because they were realizing, oh, this thing has like really good rollback, and we can all play online.
Oh yeah,
And so, like, go for it.
like it was just no, yeah, it was just incredible. Like I also was saying, like the guys at Iron Galaxy had to fight for it because they were saying, okay, so we're gonna make this fighting game, and then we're gonna just put it online and we'll call it a day. And then one of them was like, no, this is gonna be the solo fighting game that people are gonna be playing on Xbox. So we want to make sure we get this online right.
Hmm. And God, was it good? Yeah. Um. So now we have that base as for like what this new era could mean: better online, ability to play with other friends, to expand the community in a sense. And I think that's where this new era is going to eventually be moving towards. Especially, you know, Tekken has also announced that they're doing crossplay. They also have a rollback. You know, Mortal Kombat has rollback too. It's only a matter of time when that one has like full crossplay.
No, yeah, no, that's what they confirm as well because Harada actually tried to talk with PlayStation to allow crossplay for Tekken 7, but at the time, no, 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 no. We just want to keep people on our side.
Hmm.
And then and again, thanks to Fortnite, now we're getting crossplay in Tekken 8.
Yep. Thanks to Fortnite. And this other, I just realized this is another game we forgot to mention. Project L.
That is a no, no. That's funny. Like, not only should we mention Project L, but also, strangely enough, I know like there's kind of a big controversy because it's being pulled down and not returning until next year. Multiverses.
Yeah, Multiverses. Like, I mean, Multiverse is a really good fighting game from my understanding. I haven't played it yet.
I mean, I haven't played it the way it was meant to be played. It was supposed to be uh, specifically a 2v2 fighter, but there's a 1v1 mode that you can play. That's how I mostly played it. Uh, but yeah, like basically the point is it's supposed to be 2v2. But the reason I brought up multiverses along with Project Gal is because we're now seeing like companies trying to do a free to play kind of model
That's
for
right.
fighting games. Project L, they haven't announced it. We don't even know if they're going to do a free to play model, but we do know they're doing a 2v2 file you know, fighting game similar to MVC one.
Hmm. And the fact that it's free to play, and that's always been like a questionable area for some people because considering and I trust Project the guys at Riot because they make League of Legends and that's a free to play game, and if they can follow a similar model, I think we'll be fine.
Yeah, because there's only one other fighting game I can think of, but I don't even know if you might have remember it. It was called Tekken Revolution.
I've heard of it, never played it.
I played it. It's like a very streamlined, very like a super baby level Tekken game. Because the way how it works is that it plays like Tekken, but you could also level up your character. So the more money you spend, the more you could upgrade their strength and make them stupidly powerful online.
Ah, okay, it's one of those. But yeah, I think I heard that one was also like free to play. But
Yeah,
yeah,
like
it's go for it.
it's such a no. Yeah, it was just a weird game because like I wanted to try Tekken for the first time. I was like, okay, and that was my first introduction to it. It was like I'm pretty sure Tekken doesn't play like this.
Doesn't sound like it, man. Hopefully, taking it.
Yeah, and that was like my first exposure to like this weird system where like each match you play, you lose like your play tokens or energy, and then once you run them out, you gotta wait like 30 minutes to get another one. It's like no, it's not what I want in a fighting game. I want to keep playing.
No, we don't want any of that. Have we learned nothing?
But
But
yeah,
yeah,
but yeah, like Project Gale's coming. We don't know if they're doing free to play yet, but we know like they got some of the top player people working on it, and they have like a very unique system when it comes to online too. I mean, they're aware they have to use rollback, but they're also doing some other things that no fighting game has done before. I'm not sure if you remember in one of the videos, the way they handled, rage quitting, for example. So all of their games are done through like at Riot Studios, servers, and so because all the people are connected through the servers, they know who's connected and who's not. So once they detect someone, disconnects in the middle of a match, they know that person rage quitted and he will lose whatever points or stuff they'll be using for like ranking matches or anything like that online. While the person that stayed connected, they'll just get the whatever points or whatever for staying in the game and not rage quitting.
hmm, I do remember that hearing that, and that's really interesting. Because sometimes I'm not even rage quit. Sometimes we just have bad connections.
Oh yeah, and keep in mind, like most of the time, it's peer to peer. There's almost never a server for fighting games.
Hmm. Until now.
Yeah,
But yeah, there's a lot of potential of stuff to come out for now when it comes to fighting games. It's the reason why I decided to make this episode is because um, the community itself is a very interesting thing to see. There's a lot of support for games that you don't think there'd be support for. I mean, there's a support for was it uh, Def Jam right for New York.
oh no, yeah, dude, Def Jam is awesome, man. If you haven't played it yet, you
I've I've
probably may have to emulate it because last time I checked, a copy of that on GameCube was
yeah,
$200.
yeah, I ain't doing that shit. But yeah, no,
No, but yeah, like just
go for it.
yeah, like as you were saying, like there's always a small fan base for fighting games out there, and you know, it's kind of we're also entering like a new age of Marvel versus Capcom 3 because now we're seeing people modding the game where you got like different characters in it now. Like they added in Rashid, Venom, and Carnage.
Gambit, Cyclops,
Yeah,
Sura from Asura's Wrath.
yeah, and what's really weird is like at first they were just using basically the models that was already in the game for the characters like Spider Man or
Mm.
Ryu or Akuma. But now they finally figured out how to make like their own models and import them into the game as their own character.
Yeah, so like that's what I'm saying. Like the community is interesting in itself, and it's interesting to see how the community changes and adapts as like the new stuff keeps happening. Like we said, Street Fighter Two set this groundwork, the rise of a lot of different fighting games. A lot of people want to get into fighting games. Then we get the rise of like 3D fighting games. Now with Street Fighter Four, it's the return of fighting games that everyone's coming back in, and there's a new generation of people. The rise of online play, especially during that area. We got like a rise of independent fighting games like Skullgirls. KI, I would say I would kind of consider it independent if I'm being honest. Um, yeah, it's owned by Microsoft, but like it was made by a small studio. And
Yeah, it's true.
now with rollback and crossplay and this sort of idea of like kind of bringing everyone together, that's kind of a thing that I think it's really going to be interesting to see where this community goes from here on out, especially with this with the Street Fighter Six again and Tekken 8 and all this stuff coming out. Hopefully, I mean,
Yeah.
praying to the fighting game gods out there, we get return of like a lot of classic games. I know it's impossible because some of these companies just don't want to put time to see if any of these games will do well, like that, like Darkstalkers. Um, but I listen. I'd buy it. I'd buy it. You at least got one person.
I mean, it took a while, but we finally got it thanks to the Capcom Fighting Collection. Like, we literally got all the Darkstalker games, including the ones that were only in Japan.
We also got a cyber. Was it Cyberbots? No, was it?
Yeah. Oh yeah, Cyberbots that was in it.
What was
And weirdly enough, it was a puzzle fighter, and I forget what was the actual name, but I know it was Gem Fighter in Japan. I think.
Yeah. Was it No, I think that was Pocket Fighter. Or am I thinking?
No, yeah, it was called Pocket Fighter. What was it, Pocket Fighter in English?
You talking about?
'Cause I think it was Super Gem Fighter in Japan.
We'll check it out later.
Yeah, but the point is, like the Street Fighter, we got almost all of the Capcom games. Literally, the only thing missing was just JoJo, and unfortunately, you don't have the rights for that. If you want a JoJo game, you got to go to Namco now.
Mm-hmm. Come on, man. Go be some Google guys. But yeah, no, I think we're in that era of new fighting games. Well, it's a wait and see how it turns out. But for the most part, I'm hopeful. Everything came out pretty well, and it naturally transitions to the next thing.
Yeah. Oh, dude. We were talking about like how things are evolving. We never talked about one of the biggest factors in fighting games: the controller.
Oh yeah, all the different controller types out there. Whew.
Yeah, I mean, we know your basic stuff like this one right here.
My man's pulling out a Quamba.
This is your average fight stick. This is pretty much like the one people would get most of the time. But now, people it's they're looking at different options. So instead of a fight stick or using a gamepad controller, you got different stuff now, like a hitbox, which is literally like a fight stick, but it's only buttons.
And then you got which the one that has the WSD buttons in there.
I think that one's called a mix box. A
Yeah,
mix
yeah.
box, yeah.
You still have the 6 button layout,
Like that. If you
with like a
Yeah,
different.
so if you want like a hitbox style controller, but something for like a 3D fighter like Tekken, I
Mhm.
would recommend getting the Xbox. And that caused a whole new debate about whether these controllers give them an advantage or not. But that's a whole different conversation for another day. But,
Yeah, different
but
conversation.
basically, the point is, we're uh, also evolving outside of the game with controllers as well. So people will use their keyboards in a specific way, go for hitboxes, mix boxes, or hurt boxes if you're insane enough.
Yeah, and if you're clever and imaginative enough, uh, steering wheel
Oh, that's right. A guy won an XR Rev 2 tournament with a steering wheel.
or guitar hero guitar.
And if you're wondering if he actually had to turn the wheel, no, he did not. He used the control pad on the wheel.
He did. That's just so funny. But yeah, no, we are in the precipice of a new era in fighting games. And for you guys, it's like wondering how we were able to talk about this much, because like it's happened before, and it's like it's the community itself has always been a very interesting community, and that's kind of like where most of it kind of where we come from with that. But yeah, I think it's a really good place to end the episode on. Um, if you guys enjoy what you heard, be sure to follow us on all social medias: Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at the Geek Centurions, and be sure to follow us on Instagram where we're most active on. You'll find a link to the podcast insights we're part of, like Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, all that. Like, we have a link to the YouTube for all you audio listeners out there who want to put a face to the voice. That's what we'll be. Like, comment, subscribe. We also have a Patreon. It's just really there, just there if anyone wants to support us in any form of way. But yeah, also happy to announce that we are partnered with Comic Palooza this year, Comic Palooza 2023, for their podcast partnership program. we'll be there live.
Wait,
So
wait, 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 wait. Hold up, hold up, hold up. Did I hear that right?
yeah, you heard that right. We're gonna have a live session at Compalooza. I've by this point I've already made like a pre-recorded thing, but I'm always gonna be throwing it out there until the day we are there. But we will be having a live episode in front of everyone. Hopefully, we'll see you guys there. Hopefully, you guys will be joining us there. Because ideally, we want to do it like an interactive thing. Like you guys can say stuff, we will say, we'll respond back. You guys can be part of the conversation because that's what we always like to have. But yeah, thank you guys for checking us out. Hopefully, we'll see you at Compalooza this year, May 26th to 28th. And yeah, keep playing them fighting games. It's been me, your boy Eli,
Yeah, it's your boy Daniel.
and you guys have a good one. Peace.